Hello there, I'm Dr. Samuel Hart. This is Build Habits, Build Health, a space where I share simple habits, nourishing meals, and real-life medical wisdom for life after 60. My goal isn't to make you feel young again, but to help you stay healthy, steady, and independent day by day. And if that speaks to you, I hope you'll stay and join me on this journey. Today, I'd like to invite you to take a fresh look at something that probably feels pretty familiar. Protein. Most folks think of eggs as the king of protein. And to be fair, eggs are great. But did you know there are plant-based foods that actually pack more protein than eggs, while being gentler on an aging body? In just a moment, I'll walk you through 10 plant-based foods that each offer more than 13 grams of protein per 100 grams, making them a smart, powerful choice for anyone over 60 who wants to stay strong, flexible, and independent with every step they take. And if you found yourself feeling a little weaker, slowing down, or just running out of energy after meals, then maybe it's time to take a closer look at what's on your plate. No worries, there are some afternoons when I don't sit with my patients to prescribe anything. I sit just to listen. Like one day, a 68-year-old man, a retired carpenter, looked at me and said, "Doc, I still eat okay, but these days even lifting a chair feels heavy. I used to build whole kitchens. Now just twisting off a water jug cap makes my hands shake." And I understood. That's the body quietly speaking up. Not because age is the enemy, but because we've stopped treating our muscles the way we did when we were younger. After 60, keeping your muscles strong isn't really about hitting the gym. It's about what's on your plate. It's the everyday meals you choose to nourish yourself with. And today I want to tell you about one food that most people overlook their entire lives. But it just might be the key to staying strong, steady, and independent for the long haul. It's called seitan, also known as wheat meat. Now I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that something only vegans eat? Well, let's set that idea aside for a moment. Picture this with me. You slice into a piece of seitan, golden and crispy from the pan. It's hearty, tender, with a texture almost like soft beef. But here's what I really want you to notice. Every 100 grams of seitan contains 39 grams of protein. Yes, you heard that right. 39. Compare that to an egg, which has about 13 grams. That means seitan packs 3 times more protein than eggs, and with zero cholesterol. As a doctor who's tracked muscle health in thousands of patients over 50, let me tell you, protein doesn't just build muscle. At our age, it helps us stay balanced, walk with confidence, and prevent those little falls that can change everything. Seitan isn't just high in protein. It's easy to digest and versatile in the kitchen. Slice it and grill it like steak, toss it in a quick stir fry, or add it to a veggie stew. Its flavor is neutral enough to soak up your favorite sauces, but meaty enough that you won't feel like you're giving anything up. I once recommended seitan to a patient of mine, Miss Edith, a spiritual vegetarian who was losing muscle and feeling tired all the time. After just a few months of adding seitan to her meals 3 times a week, she told me, "I feel like myself again, not to run a marathon, just to stand up without using my hands." And for me, that's enough. Maybe you're wondering, do I really need to make such a big change? Just for one food? The answer is no. You don't need to change everything. You just need to start with one small choice that matters. And seitan might be one of them. But, and this is important, since seitan is made from pure gluten, it's not suitable for anyone with celiac disease or gluten intolerance. If you're okay with gluten, it's a fantastic protein option. If not, don't worry. We've got plenty more choices ahead. And coming up next, I want to introduce you to a tiny seed packed with protein and healthy fats, and especially gentle on aging digestion. A little super seed that can help your muscles heal and grow from the inside out. Can you guess what it is? Let's find out right after this. Remember when I mentioned a tiny seed packed with power? Well, now's the time to open that little packet and take a closer look at something many older adults tend to overlook. Hemp seeds. Now, I know the word hemp makes some folks a little uneasy. I've had patients quietly ask me, "Doctor Hart, is this even legal?" And I always smile and say, absolutely legal. And even better, it's good for your health. Hemp seeds contain no intoxicants. They're simply the cleaned, edible part of the industrial hemp plant. And get this, every 100 grams delivers up to 35 grams of complete protein. That means it has all 9 essential amino acids, the ones your body can't make on its own. That's a big deal, especially after 60, because as we age, our bodies become less responsive to protein. We need more of it, the right kind, and in smart combinations, not just sitting on the plate, but actually turning into strength. I remember working with Mr. Charles, a retired school teacher in his 70s. He had lost muscle after a hospital stay for pneumonia. Though he was eating well, he remained frail and shaky. We added just 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds to his morning oatmeal. That's it. Nothing fancy. And within 6 weeks, he looked at me and said, I feel like I'm back inside my body again. So what makes hemp seeds so special? It's not just the amount of protein, it's the quality of it and what comes with it. Hemp seeds offer a rare balance of omega-3 and omega-6, healthy fats that reduce inflammation, protect joints, and support circulation. They also contain GLA, gamma-linolenic acid, a unique fatty acid that helps regulate hormones, improve sleep, ease fatigue, and support mood in older adults. I often say, eating hemp seeds is like pouring clean oil into an old engine. It doesn't just run smoother, it quiets the rattling parts too. And the best part? They're incredibly easy to use. No soaking, no cooking, just sprinkle a spoonful over oatmeal, into yogurt, blended into a smoothie, or tossed onto steamed veggies. They're soft, slightly nutty, like mild walnuts. And best of all, they don't cause bloating like many high-protein foods often do. I'd like you to ask yourself, of all the things I eat in a day, how many of them actually help me get stronger? If you're unsure, maybe it's time to start with something small, like hemp seeds. And yes, I know, 1 spoon a day, can that really make a difference? But here's what I've learned. Health in our later years doesn't come from big changes. It comes from small things done consistently. Hemp seeds are one of those small things, and I truly believe they deserve a place in your kitchen. That said, just a quick word of caution. Even good things need to be used wisely. Start with 1 tablespoon a day, choose hulled, unsalted seeds, and if you're on blood thinners or blood pressure meds, check with your doctor first. Every body is its own rhythm, and even the best ingredient needs to be blended gently, respectfully, into your unique tune. Hemp seeds are a gift, but like all good gifts in life, they work best when used mindfully and when you're truly listening to your body. Now, if you're wondering, is there anything even more powerful than this in the plant world? Stick with me, because up next I'll be telling you about a legendary green algae, tiny but mighty, with the power to wake up sleeping muscles. Just 1 little spoon for 1 stronger, steadier step forward. There's a patient of mine named Harold, 72 years old. He spent nearly 40 years working in mechanical engineering. His arms once lifted parts that weighed more than most people's luggage. But now, even reaching for a pan on the shelf makes him pause and sigh. Doc, he told me, I'm not afraid of getting old. What scares me is feeling myself grow weaker, a little more every day. And I got it. It's not just about losing muscle. It's the feeling of losing a part of yourself, losing the ability to care for your own needs, losing the quiet freedom that used to feel so natural. That's when I introduced Harold to something you might find surprising. Spirulina, a humble blue-green algae. At first it sounds like something meant for dieters or young athletes, but no. Spirulina is a single-celled organism, invisible to the naked eye, yet bursting with protein, around 29 grams per 100 grams, and remarkably with 85% bioavailability. That means your body actually absorbs and uses it. A big deal, especially as we age, because not everything we eat gets turned into strength. What makes spirulina even more powerful is a pigment it contains called phycocyanin, known for its strong anti-inflammatory effects. And after 60, chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the silent forces behind muscle aches, slow recovery, stiff joints, even brain fog. Now, spirulina won't replace your medications. Let's be clear about that. But think of it like a quiet, skilled repairman going about the small inner fix-ups you never even notice. When Harold came back for a checkup, he told me, "I'm not turning into a bodybuilder, doc, but I feel stronger. I can walk farther now and my mornings don't start with that stiff, rusty feeling anymore." Have you ever felt that way yourself? Like your body's slowing down? Not in a peaceful way, but like it's struggling to move forward? If so, maybe it's time to give your body a new friend. Small, gentle, green, and powerful in quiet ways. Spirulina. You can stir it into a smoothie, sprinkle it over oatmeal, or mix it with honey into little morning energy balls. The taste is slightly earthy, like a soft ocean breeze, but in return, you'll feel something in your body being gently restored day by day. A quick but important note, because spirulina can contain natural iodine, folks with thyroid issues should speak with their doctor before using it regularly. And always choose high-quality spirulina from trusted, clean sources, since algae grown in polluted waters can carry heavy metals. I've always believed this. Caring for your health after 60 isn't about chasing youth. It's about coming back home to your body, nurturing what's tired, replenishing what's been worn down, with simple, loving choices repeated gently every day. And spirulina is one of those choices. Now, let's move on to the next food, one that carries an entire living ecosystem within itself. I once sat down with a 64-year-old woman named Eleanor, a retired art teacher with a gentle soul. She often brought hand-stitched handkerchiefs to my clinic, and one day she gifted me a small one with these words embroidered on the corner: "Everything takes time to bloom." And I thought, isn't that how our health works after 60? It doesn't come from sudden changes. It comes from patience, from the quiet things we nurture from within, day by day. One food I often recommended to Eleanor is something you might not expect: tempeh, a traditional Indonesian food made from fermented soybeans. Sounds simple, right? But behind that little block is an entire living ecosystem: complete plant-based protein, natural fiber, and gut-friendly probiotics. The quiet friends of your digestive system. Every 100 grams of tempeh offers around 20 grams of protein. Impressive for any plant-based food. And even better, wow, it's complete protein. That means it contains all 9 essential amino acids your body needs to maintain and rebuild muscle. Now you might be thinking, I already eat protein. Why ferment it and make things complicated? Well, here's the thing. After 50, our digestion starts to slow down. The protein you easily absorbed in your 30s, now it might pass through before your body has a chance to use it. But with tempeh, the fermentation process does some of the hard work for you. It breaks down tough structures, creates enzymes, and fills your gut with good bacteria, all of which help your body actually use the nutrients you eat. One of my patients, Walter, age 70, used to struggle with chronic bloating. Every meal felt like a chore. He'd feel sluggish and sleepy after lunch. But after adding tempeh to his meals 3 times a week, he told me, "Doc, my body feels less angry. It's not fighting my food anymore." And I believe that's true not just for the stomach, but for the body and mind as a whole. Some foods, like tempeh, nourish us while also offering the body a break, and that makes them powerful allies for healthy aging. You can slice it, pan-fry it in olive oil and garlic, or marinate it with tamari and ginger, then roast it. The flavor is rich, nutty, and deeply satisfying, without needing any animal products at all. Just a quick note, since tempeh is made from soy, it's not suitable for people with soy allergies or certain hormone-sensitive conditions. But if you tolerate soy, this is one of the healthiest plant-based proteins you can eat. I still think about Eleanor's words. Everything takes time to bloom. Tempeh is a perfect reminder of that. A food that becomes more powerful through time and transformation. Fermentation isn't decay, it's maturity. And if your body is waiting for something to help it bloom again, tempeh just might be the first gentle spark. In the next part of our journey, I'll take you to a seed that may seem ordinary, but it's actually a treasure chest of protein, zinc, and magnesium, all vital for aging muscles and whole body wellness. Let's keep walking together. There's something I've come to realize after more than 30 years of caring for folks over 50. The human body always whispers before it shouts, but too often, people only start listening when it's already too late. I remember one crisp autumn afternoon, a gentleman came in for a checkup. His name was Raymond, 75 years old, living alone after losing his wife. Nothing urgent, just a little muscle soreness, aching knees, trouble sleeping through the night. He sat down, exhaled deeply and said, "It's not a sharp pain, doc, but it feels like I'm slowly deflating, bit by bit." That line stayed with me for many nights, because it's true. Some things aren't loud enough to call a disease, but they quietly drain our energy, our spark. In Raymond's blood work, I found something small, but telling. Slight deficiencies in magnesium and zinc. Not alarming, but certainly not to be ignored either. After 60, things like zinc, iron, and magnesium aren't just numbers on a lab report. They're fuel for sleep, for the nervous system, and most of all, for muscle function. I suggested he start with something simple. A handful of pumpkin seeds each day, no fancy cooking, just rinse, lightly toast or eat raw. Toss them on yogurt, blend into smoothies, or make a simple seed butter. Did you know? In just 100 grams of pumpkin seeds, you get 19 grams of protein, along with natural magnesium, zinc, and anti-inflammatory compounds. That's a powerful trio, especially for older adults, to support muscle strength, reduce hidden inflammation, and aid digestion. Some studies even suggest that magnesium from pumpkin seeds can help improve sleep, especially for those who wake during the night with leg cramps or stiff joints. A few weeks later, Raymond came back with a little jar of homemade pumpkin seed butter, blended with coconut oil. He grinned and said, "I eat this every morning, Doc, and at night, whether it's the flavor or the magnesium, I'm sleeping like a baby." Have you ever had that feeling? Where one small change, one simple food, makes your body feel held, like someone is gently calming it from the inside. Pumpkin seeds may not have the spotlight like other so-called superfoods, but in medicine I've learned, sometimes the quietest things bring the most lasting strength. Just a small note, if you have digestive issues, chew pumpkin seeds well or grind them to aid absorption. And if you're watching your calorie intake, use moderate portions. They're dense with nutrients. Taking care of your health after 60 doesn't require a nutritional revolution. It's a gentle return to balance through choices small enough to stick with, but strong enough to make a difference. And pumpkin seeds, humble, steady, and quietly powerful, are one of those choices. In the next part of our journey, I'll introduce you to an ancient grain, one that can take the place of rice, cook into a warm porridge, or toss beautifully into a light afternoon salad. Can you guess which one I'm talking about? We'll discover it together right after this. When I was a boy, my grandmother used to make a pot of lentil soup on cold winter afternoons. In our old, creaky kitchen, the scent of sautéed onions and simmering beans would fill every corner of the house. She once told me, "Beans are food for the poor, but as long as there's a warm pot on the stove, we're still rich enough." Back then, I didn't fully understand what she meant. But the older I get, and the longer I've worked in medicine, the more I realize she was absolutely right. Lentils aren't just food, they're a way of living. I once met a woman named Judith, 66 years old, a retired single mother living on a small monthly check. She didn't come in with a specific illness. She came in because, in her words, she just felt like she'd lost her spark. We talked for a long while. She told me she often ate instant noodles for convenience, drank coffee instead of breakfast, and rarely cooked at night. "Eating alone doesn't feel worth the effort," she said. I suggested something simple. Lentils, inexpensive, easy, but packed with plant-based protein, and excellent for heart health, digestion, and blood sugar support. Just 100 grams of cooked lentils provides about 18 grams of protein, plenty of soluble fiber, and a generous dose of folate, a B vitamin essential for producing blood cells and protecting brain health, especially after 60. I told her, the body is like a garden. If the soil's tired, you don't need expensive fertilizer. You just need to plant good seeds each day. The rain will come when it's ready. A few weeks later, Judith returned with a container of homemade lentil curry she found on YouTube. She smiled wide and said, "I ate it alone, but this time, it tasted good. And guess what, Doc? I slept through the whole night for the first time in months." That moment still touches me, because in the end, health doesn't start at the pharmacy. It starts with a spoon. Lentils don't just help build muscle with gentle, plant-based protein. They also help lower cholesterol, balance blood sugar, and soothe digestion. A true ally for older adults, especially those living with diabetes or heart conditions. You can enjoy them in a simple soup, or mix them with veggies for a warm salad, Indian-style curry, or even a comforting breakfast porridge with olive oil. The flavor is soft and calming, like a warm hug for your stomach. Just a small note. If you have a sensitive digestive system, soak lentils for 4 to 6 hours before cooking. This reduces phytic acid and makes them easier to digest. Cook thoroughly and enjoy in moderate amounts to avoid bloating. You see, sometimes the key to thriving after 60 isn't found in a gym or clinic. It's in the kitchen, in the quiet choice to nourish yourself with something simple, steady, and meaningful. And lentils, humble as they may be, remain one of the most faithful friends to both your body and your spirit. In the next part of our journey, I'll introduce you to a humble-looking powder, but one with extraordinary power when it comes to restoring health from the inside out. Let's explore it together. There are days when I sit across from my patients, not to diagnose, not to prescribe, but simply to listen, to hear the little things they carry. One day, Mr. Larry, 69 years old, a retired office worker, looked at me, scratched his head, and asked, "Doc, I try to eat more. I walk every afternoon. But why does it still feel like I'm shrinking?" And I smiled because I understood. After 60, muscle loss isn't always because we're doing something wrong. Sometimes it's simply because we no longer have enough raw materials to hold on to what's slowly slipping away. Our bodies at that age are like older homes. Without enough bricks and mortar, they begin to crack, quietly. And one of the most essential building blocks is protein. But let's be honest, getting enough protein after 60 isn't easy. Loss of appetite, digestive discomfort, and many just don't feel like eating a lot of meat anymore. That's why I often recommend something simple, gentle, and effective. Soy protein powder. Did you know? Every 100 grams of soy protein powder contains 80 to 90 grams of protein. That means nearly the entire weight is pure nourishment. Even better, soy protein is one of the few plant-based complete proteins containing all 9 essential amino acids our bodies need. It's easy to digest, easy to blend, and gentle on the liver and kidneys. A smart choice for adults over 50 who need quick nutrition without heavy meals. I remember another patient, Norma, 73, petite, often dizzy, low energy. After starting her mornings with a smoothie made of soy protein powder, banana and chia seeds, she told me, "Doc, it's like I've got fuel in the tank again, and it goes down easy, doesn't feel like a chore." What she didn't realize was this. When your body gets enough protein in the morning, it activates anabolic hormones that help preserve muscle, strengthen bones, and boost energy all day long. Soy protein powder isn't magic, but it can be a lifeline on days when meals fall short. You can mix it into smoothies, stir it into porridge, or bake it into simple protein bites. Its flavor is mild, easily dressed up with cocoa, vanilla, or ripe fruit. Just a quick word of caution. While soy is generally safe and well tolerated, folks with estrogen-sensitive conditions, like breast cancer with hormone receptors, should speak to their doctor before long-term use. And always choose non-GMO, low-additive options. Quality matters, especially as we age. I often remind my patients, strength in old age doesn't come from big biceps. It comes from the ability to wake up each morning and say, "I'm still okay today." And if a simple smoothie with soy protein can help you keep saying that, then I'd say it's worth a try. In our next stop, I'll share a food that's been around since ancient times, once called the golden grain of the Incas. It's tiny, easy to cook, and packed with complete protein and fiber that's gentle on aging digestion. Can you guess what it is? We'll uncover it together in the next part of this journey. I have an unusual habit. After a checkup, if we still have a few minutes left, I often ask my patients a slightly off-topic question. What did you have for dinner last night? I don't ask to judge their menu. I ask to understand something deeper, how they care for their body, often without even realizing it. Because after 60, meals aren't just about being full or tasty. They're about getting the right nutrients to hold on to what's slowly fading. One patient of mine, Linda, age 67, once answered, I had a bowl of white rice with a boiled egg and some cucumber. Simple, easy to swallow, easy to digest. It sounded reasonable. But when I asked how she'd been feeling, she sighed, my arms and legs feel weak, especially in the afternoon. Even carrying a grocery bag makes me shaky. And that's actually quite common, because the body needs protein, and more specifically, lysine, an amino acid that helps repair muscle tissue, absorb calcium, and support collagen production. So I suggested something small but powerful. Replace the white rice with quinoa. Quinoa doesn't look like much, just tiny seeds, ivory, red, or black. But beneath that humble shell lies a superfood that once nourished the ancient Inca people for generations. Today, it's one of the few plant-based sources of complete protein, including lysine. Each 100 grams of cooked quinoa gives you about 14 grams of protein, along with fiber, magnesium, iron, and even a little plant-based omega-3. And just as importantly, it's very easy to digest, which makes a big difference for older adults. A month later, Linda returned for a follow-up. She smiled and said, I swapped white rice for quinoa, cooked it with beans and veggies. Thought it'd be strange, but turns out it's light on the stomach, and I feel stronger. My afternoon walks aren't a struggle anymore. And there it was. Sometimes changing just one bowl, one old habit, can open a whole new chapter for the body. Quinoa is wonderfully versatile in the kitchen. You can cook it like rice, toss it in a salad, make a warm breakfast bowl, or use it in vegetarian dishes in place of meat. It's mildly nutty, slightly crunchy, and never heavy. Perfect for those who want to eat light but eat well. Just a small tip. Before cooking quinoa, rinse it thoroughly under cold water to remove saponins, a natural coating that can cause bitterness or mild digestive discomfort in sensitive individuals. You know, I've always believed, caring for our health as we age isn't about clinging to what's old. It's about knowing when to let go and what to replace it with. And if you're looking to replace refined carbs with something richer, more complete, and muscle-supporting, quinoa might just be your answer. In the next part of our journey, I'll tell you about a tiny seed with a remarkable power. It can absorb and hold water like a cactus surviving in the desert. Can you guess what it is? Some things in life are so small we tend to overlook them. A quiet thank you, a gentle handshake, a nourishing breakfast, and one tiny speck of a seed called chia. I once had a patient named Sarah, 70 years old, a retired nurse. She was always neat, well-prepared, but dealt with constant bloating, constipation, and mild joint pain that flared up whenever the weather turned cold. I drink plenty of water, I eat my vegetables, she told me, but it's like my body just doesn't absorb things the way it used to. That one sentence struck a truth I've heard from many older adults. It's not that we don't eat enough, it's that we don't absorb enough. And sometimes the answer isn't more food, it's the right kind of food, in the right form. That's where I suggested something incredibly simple. 1 tablespoon of chia seeds every morning. Chia seeds, though tiny, carry an impressive punch. 17 grams of plant-based protein per 100 grams, plus soluble fiber, plant-based omega-3s, calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, all vital for muscle maintenance, joint health, digestion, and nervous system balance. What's most remarkable is chia's ability to absorb 10 to 12 times its weight in water. When soaked, it forms a gentle gel that soothes the gut lining, helps with regularity, and keeps blood sugar levels steady. a godsend for anyone dealing with constipation or prediabetes. I taught Sarah a simple recipe: chia pudding, just 1 to 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, soaked overnight in almond milk or water. In the morning, top it with a bit of banana or fresh blueberries. No sugar, no cooking, just nourishment that the body will thank you for. Weeks later, she returned, brighter, lighter, and said, "You know, Doc, for the first time in years, I feel light in the morning. And my knees, it's like someone oiled the joints. I can walk the whole park loop without stopping." Have you ever felt like that? Like something inside you isn't exactly wrong, but just enough off to make daily life harder than it should be? If so, maybe it's time to give your body a chance to reset gently with something as small as chia seeds. You can add them to warm water, nut milk, smoothies, or morning oats. They have no taste, no smell, and they work quietly, steadily, like a loyal friend to your gut and joints. A gentle reminder: always soak chia seeds for at least 15 to 30 minutes before eating, especially for older adults. This helps prevent bloating or the risk of seeds expanding in your digestive tract. And don't forget to drink enough water. Chia seeds are thirsty little things. I often tell my patients, health is the sum of the little things you do every day. And sometimes the smallest things bring the biggest changes. Chia seeds are living proof of that. 1 spoonful a day, and your digestion, your joints, even your sleep might just start to feel a little better. And now, in the final part of our journey, I'll introduce you to a humble, traditional food, once a strength secret of ancient cultures, now rediscovered as a secret weapon for aging muscles, aching joints, and long-lasting energy. Let's close this journey with something unexpected. You won't want to miss it. One late afternoon, I sat with a gentleman named Frank, 78 years old, a retired geography teacher. He had type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and recently started noticing weakness in his legs. His steps had slowed. His energy faded faster. "Doctor," he said quietly, "I'm not afraid of growing old. I'm afraid of needing someone to push me in a chair." That sentence struck deep, because for many older adults, the fear isn't illness. It's the quiet grief of losing the ability to care for oneself. We can't turn back the clock, but we can slow down the decline. And one of the first places I always look is the plate. I suggested Mr. Frank start again with something simple, something he probably ate in his younger years: black beans. They may sound humble, but every 100 grams of cooked black beans provides around 15 grams of plant-based protein, plus generous amounts of fiber, iron, magnesium, and powerful antioxidants like anthocyanins, the pigment that gives black beans their deep color. For older adults, this is a quiet treasure chest, because black beans don't just nourish muscle and stabilize blood sugar, they also support circulation, reduce inflammation, and gently care for the digestive system that softens with age. I gave Mr. Frank a few easy ideas. Simmer them gently and serve with brown rice or quinoa. Toss them into a chilled salad with avocado, tomatoes, and olive oil. Mash them into a plant-based burger, paired with leafy greens and whole grain bread. A month later, he came back with a smile. "Doc, I'm walking farther now," he said. "Not because I'm working out more, but because I don't feel sluggish after meals anymore. My body just feels lighter." You see, sometimes strength doesn't come from a prescription. It comes from a warm bowl of beans, shared in the quiet of a cool evening. Black beans don't just comfort the belly. They help keep your blood flowing, your muscles rebuilding, and your heart beating with steadiness and ease. Just a gentle note: because black beans are high in fiber, those with sensitive digestion should soak them well, ideally 6 to 8 hours, and cook until soft. Adding a bit of ginger or bay leaf to the cooking water can also help reduce bloating. I've always believed healthy aging isn't a battle, it's an art. The art of listening to your body, choosing what truly supports you, and gently letting go of what no longer serves you. And sometimes that right choice is a warm bowl of black beans, quiet, humble, but rich with life-giving strength. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. We've just explored 10 plant-based foods that are higher in protein than eggs. But beyond the numbers, these are foods that support muscle, protect joints, and gently fuel your vitality well into your 60s and beyond. I don't expect you to remember every detail. I simply hope you'll choose just one small thing to begin with, starting today. Maybe it's a spoonful of chia seeds soaked in milk, a bowl of quinoa instead of white rice, or simply no longer hesitating when you see soy protein powder on the grocery shelf. Health doesn't arrive in a single bright moment. It's built, quietly, consistently, through the choices we repeat each day. If you found today's sharing helpful, please tap that like button. It's the simplest way to let me know you're still here. And if you believe someone, a friend, a loved one, a family member, might need this message, please share this video with them. You might just be the one who helps them take their first step toward change. Once again, thank you for spending your time with me. I'm Dr. Samuel Hart, wishing you peace in your day and strength on your path to lasting health. I'll see you again soon.